All right, and we are live. Sean, I've got a question for you, buddy. Are you ready to go suit up and play for OU secondary? Because at this point, I think we're going to keep getting burned. Are you ready? Because I'm not qualified at all. I know Gavin's not qualified to be a secondary player. Are you ready to go play secondary with your height and skill?
I mean, I have height, but running was not my strength, especially when I was in the Army. So, I mean...
you're just disappointing me.
You want me to run. That's like the... I mean, I only run when chased, and even that has its disadvantages. So
I'm not only going to need you to run. I mean, maybe we need to put something in the end zone, like a manga or a DVD, like a special set that every time you block a pass or something, you get something from it. Give some incentive.
That's ridiculous. I've pre-ordered everything I've ever wanted at this point, so there's nothing you could offer me that I'd want right now.
Well, I tried. So, Sean, how you doing tonight? Post TCU game.
Okay. Cowboys won a thriller in Foxborough in overtime, and I am very chill at the moment. It's just we're halfway through October, over halfway through the season, and it's exactly like everyone predicted. You know, we're in this conversation now where our defense is... Everyone just assumes our defense is terrible, and because I consider all those people idiots, all due respect, if anyone's watching this who I have offended, but our secondary is decimated right now, and we're playing Billy Bowman at effing corner, and DJ Graham got knocked out early in the game last night due to concussion protocol, and thank the heavens he doesn't have a concussion. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for clarifying that. And then you had guys who will remain nameless to protect their identity. It's like going on, I talked to someone close by and he said he's going to be out for a while. And it's like, oh, God. So, which I never believed for a second, because DJ Graham was standing on the sideline all happy and go lucky. If your concussion that serious, you ain't stand on the sideline happy and go lucky and hanging out with your boys. You're back in the locker room, like getting away from bright lights. So yeah, everyone just kind of like rolled their eyes at that crap, and it's like, okay, let's chill. So I don't care. We're playing Kansas this week. That's our best current corner right now, and we need all corners on deck at the moment. But it sounds like we're getting close to getting some people back. Woody Washington is one of those people. I don't know about Turner Yell. I don't know about Turner Yell, but I would like to get Jalen Redmond back. Like, we don't need Jalen Redmond to beat Kansas. So if Jalen Redmond's like 85%, sit his ass as far as I'm concerned, and then get him ready for Tech, get him a warm up with Tech, and then that November stretch, like we got a bye week before that November stretch. Like, I'm just doing your whole show for you, so forgive me.
No, you're fine. We're narrowing down like an hour and a half to like 5 minutes. But speaking of that though, Sean, when you mentioned that as well, next week's also the point to let Tyrese Robinson like rest. They keep on aggravating it. They need to let him rest.
I mean, I guess. I mean, we have an early kick. Thank God I can do football and wrestling in the same night.
What a blessing!
I know. I was so like I prayed for an 11 a.m. kick. I prayed for it, and I've been blessed with good football, like good cartoons, good food, and good pro wrestling coming to town. So, almost everything I've been wanting lately has been happening, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
The brightest timeline. Gavin, how have you been?
I've been doing all right, and just just trying to figure out who can we. What can we do with that secondary? And also, I want to say this: Caleb Williams, and this was something I just saw. I think he was like the first true freshman to, I think, like get like 5 total touchdowns in a game. If I'm
what a bum! That's it. Jeez.
For a freshman debut, bench throw that Rather kid back in.
That's awful. God, he sucks. It's terrible. He has a stupid haircut too. My God.
That game was something else. I was telling Gavin before the stream, Sean, that I never had a doubt that OU was going to win it, but it just seemed like we could just not.
You should have come to my stream, to my chat. I never doubted OU was going to win it. You should have come to my stream, man. You come hang out during a watch along. Everyone, like, there's like at least a dozen people who lose their mind after every play. good or bad. There is no in between. There is no nuance or substance when it comes to like, okay, like I understand giving up. They gave up some big plays last night. I mean, big plays. There's no getting around that. That is a problem. But as we've addressed, like injuries are a problem. Like we do not have the depth in the secondary like we have on the D line. Which I'm glad we have depth anywhere on this defense, and that's concerning the past 5 years. But our front is playing well. We got Isaiah Coe back. I don't know how much he played, or I got to go back and look. But just again, like health is the key here. Our best corner got hurt in the pay-per-view game, and that was evident. Like he is our best corner, Woody Washington.
Yeah.
And people who it's like, oh, dude, this sucks. It's like I hate them. Like I love
they're not understanding the
I love people
that in the stadium. So
no, I love people.
I went to the game.
I love people coming to my stream, but I hate that they can't accept the fact that our depth is like this is our depth behind like Graham and Washington. It's either true freshmen or guys that kind of suck.
Oh, absolutely.
And like Latrell McCutcheon is going to be good one day. He makes plays, but he's still a true freshman. Billy Bowman is not a corner. So let's just get that.
Not.
And add to the fact that this is TCU who was missing Zach Evans, which was a blessing. But they also have this monster wide receiver who Jaden Davis is going up against, his 5'11" ass against his 6'4" monster frame. Yeah, that's kind of a mismatch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson.
Yeah. Last night, Sean, I did end up going to the game, and I took a buddy with me. And we said that too. It's like it just seems like, and it's because we're so injured, but we're always seems like half a step to a full step behind some of these big wide receivers, and it's just they're not ready, and that's not to the blame.
Well, you're never gonna be ready. Some of those guys, like you're never gonna be ready because it's a mismatch. But you gotta get your key guys back, and Pat Fields is the most experienced guy in the field last night.
Yeah,
I like Pat Fields to an extent, but. Yeah, it was rough. Justin Broyles actually played a decent game last night at nickel. He made a few plays. So all the hate for Justin Broyles. He made some plays got some big key stops. And what's funny is that all the morons in my chat, I'm making about my chat, excuse me, but it's like the 2018 defense all over again. It's 2018. I want to murder these people through the internet. I really do.
Yeah.
I need to join one of your live streams one day when during the watch along, just so I can experience the pain, because we had that in the stadium too, where people are like, "Why can't you do this?" Well, I'm like, guys, they're going to give up a big play at some point. Yes, they're going to be watching for it later on, but at some point that you're not going to have this shutout game. That's unrealistic.
By the way, anyone want to go to a Tennessee game?
Oh God!
Hey, God. Okay. We're going to switch gears really fast to talk about that. Tennessee needs to be banned for the rest of the season. That was bad.
Okay. Well, let's slow down on that being banned for the rest of the season.
Ban it for the rest of the season.
I would like to incorporate a $2 million fine, please.
$2 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. No, like that was like, you know what my favorite defense of all this is? And it cracks me up. Hey, don't let the actions of a couple hundred people. What? Like, that's my favorite defense. Don't let the actions of a couple hundred people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
This isn't one dude who threw a cup at Ron Artest and started the riot at the Malice at the. Well, not just that. It was a bunch of other stuff too.
And a mustard. On the drive home last night, Andrew mentioned that, and I thought he was joking. I thought the golf ball was like, oh, someone threw a golf ball, and I thought it was just something on the sideline that they happened to find, like a fox during OU Texas. But no, they actually threw stuff. Like, ridiculous. Tennessee, get your shit together. I don't like stuff thrown. I don't like
they should have been disqualified. Like, I know, but they were saying, well, you got to get with the ADs and the commissioner. No, they should have been disqualified because it was. They had to get the band out of there. They had to get the cheerleaders out.
Yeah.
And what was so wonderfully delicious about it, if you wanted like a cruel ending to that for Tennessee fans even more, is that they after everything they did, they still had a chance to win.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they had a chance to win, and they deserved to lose. They absolutely deserve to lose. I don't wish injury on their QB. That sucks. Like I feel for the dude, but the backup came in. The guy that they hate, like it's their version of Spencer Rattler, but worse, and lost the game for them because he just didn't realize how much time was left and ran out of bounds. Yeah. But no, like Tennessee went from being the underdog you're rooting for to like, oh, I'm so glad you lost. It was that was pathetic. Like you deserve like this is the same fan base that got hoodwinked and coerced into rioting over Greg Schiano potentially being their head coach. You deserve everything you get, as far as I'm concerned. Everything.
Well, I guess they got the popcorn ready and just threw the boxes out. If anything, that's kind of how I look at it.
Like people are going to start like French's mustard is like I don't know what the parent company is, but the stock's going to go up because people are going to blow up on French's mustard and mess with Tennessee. But like I feel bad for Heupel. He had
I do too.
Like Heupel had a chance. He was starting to like. This was going to be a great year for Tennessee, but you could sense over the past few weeks that something was different, and they lost to Ole Miss. Okay, it happens, but still, it just derails everything you're trying to build. And people talk about hurting recruiting. I don't know. Maybe you tell me.
No. Now you mentioned recruiting. When we were speaking about that in the stands, that's actually a question I had for both of y'all. Someone was talking about the Oklahoma State and Texas game. Is that one of those with that type of ending? Does that hurt recruiting for Texas since they threw up on themselves?
I mean, Texas is always going to have a big time class every year. When have they not? Like it's been like a decade. They've always had like top tier classes on some level. So,
but the problem I have, though, it's not the recruiting part that's been the problem. It's the development. And they just have not, produced that top-wide development. I mean, unless you can maybe count Bijan at this point.
Well, Sark's not using his star player in the second half. Like, he didn't even get touches.
Not at all.
So, I just feel like this is almost like, I don't want to say it's like Herman 2.0. It's not, but it's like, like what is the point if you're not going to use your best player?
I think it's what it is they couldn't find anybody else with Sark because I truly believe they thought they had Saban and Saban just laughed at him and they wanted Sark or Urban Meyer.
No, they're going for Urban Meyer and
Urban Meyer. I think they believe it, and then
got his first win today. Had to be in another country, another hemisphere. I'm kidding, of course. No, it's still in the Western. Still in the Western. No, he's still in the Western Hemisphere. But regardless, it's the fact that you back to back rip your heart out from like the two in-state Oklahoma schools, just back to back weeks, and I watched that game and thought to myself, oh, that one's gonna hurt for a while because all we heard was that. All right, Texas lost a heartbreaker last week, but Bijan Robinson, boy, is he good. And he's really good in the first half. And, Texas looked like, again, first half, putting up points. And I'm like, okay. I mean, because I thought if they put up a lot of points in the first half, it was over because Oklahoma State is not built to win in a shootout. I wouldn't call that game a shootout at all, but the fact that folks were able to score 32 any way, shape, or form, pick six, whatever it was, like the fact they were able to do that with Spencer Sanders at quarterback and able to run the football, that was a huge win for Mike Gundy. It was gigantic.
That pick six right there that you're talking about, that was like the momentum shift right there that basically, sort of kind of got Oklahoma State fired up, and it was just like I would consider the huge turning point of that game.
Yeah.
It's like, as much as like Oklahoma State's offense, it's not like stuff that we've sort of seen in the past, but I just think it's like I've really have seen like where, they've kind of given up some plays here and there, but the defense has been like, I don't want to say they're not like Georgia good, but they're like really like somewhere decent.
They feel like Oklahoma State feels a lot like Iowa, and not Iowa of yesterday, mind you, but they feel like Iowa before yesterday because Purdue. I watched the majority of that game. I was like, disappointing the sick kids at the children's hospital. Very, just like disappointed in you, Iowa. Disappointed in you completely.
I mean,
The
I'm
spoiler
not gonna.
makers, man, every time.
Yeah, I'm not putting them I'm not putting them at top or anything like that though too. But they're somewhat in that decent area. That's kind of where I'm just looking at it right now. So.
I saw a funny joke where it was like with Purdue, Iowa, we want to be like Ohio State. Purdue, oh, so you want to get beaten by us when you're number 2? No, wait, no, not like this.
Yeah.
And also, you gotta love the tweet from Purdue. We beat the number 2 out of them.
That's very childish and very inappropriate. I approve. But yeah, Texas just. Again, they're out of the championship, the Big 12 championship race, and they would need like a lot of chaos to even get it to be the second place team. And it's basically we're down to 4 schools basically. The way things it's gonna be some combination of OU, Iowa State, Baylor, Oklahoma State.
And it's amazing that those are like our next 3 out of 5 games.
Yeah, so I mean Baylor's already got a leg up on Iowa State. Oklahoma State's got to win over Baylor. So. Mm-hmm. Assuming OU wins out, it's like Oklahoma State's the one who actually controls their own destiny right now. I think everyone else needs a little bit of help, or they need to like beat Oklahoma or find a way to do that, which is not out of the realm of possibility, mind you. It's just one of those things where 3 weeks ago we were like, oh, I'm not liking that November slate the way things are going right now. Now 3 weeks later, like, oh, well, we could win shootouts again if we absolutely have to. What a freaking turn that's been. But yeah,
ball curled. We want offense. Okay, no, wait, stop.
We're not allowed to have both at the same time. We're not allowed to be a complete football team. We're not allowed to be like we were never really good on defense, but we were like good enough. Like we were like, okay, we can win low scoring games. Apparently, like going back and watching that West Virginia game, it's like that seems like 25 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, how did we win a game like that? And we found a way. We found a way because we didn't go up against any truly dynamic QB play, unless you want to count like Skylar Thompson with K-State playing on one leg. We played on a guy with one leg against K-State, and the other purple team were played on another guy with one leg. So
and they lit us up both times.
But Duggan was a lot more mobile than Skylar. Skylar wasn't mobile for shit. But Duggan was able to move with a broken bone in his foot, and he was able to get plays he was able to get some screen passes and some plays down the field and just burn our secondary. But yeah, Caleb Williams is good. I mean, that was confirmed. The crowd just basically gave him a Baker level ovation. When his name came on the board.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I was like, all right, I know they're going to have that starting lineup, and I have it recorded. I'm like, the crowd.
You and a lot of people on the internet have that recorded, but I knew if Spencer's name popped up, it was going to be a combination of boos and, oh, really? Yeah. It was going to be a big,
I expected Spencer honestly to play in the second half, but without
you couldn't play him in the second half.
Not with that defense in the secondary. No.
Yeah,
not like Riley said in the press conference he was ready to play him if need be, but obviously it's like you're not gonna. In his mind, if they were gonna win this thing in a blowout, yeah, you can put Spencer in and he can get some reps in, which is weird. God, it's still so weird to say that, but here we are. But just the fact that he has yet to turn the ball over, knock on wood, Caleb Williams, and we've gotten Fowler and Herbstreit watching him 2 weeks in a row. And his performance is just, back-to-back amazing performances. And what was funny, and it's just it actually happened. And I was wondering, like Herbstreit just having a casual conversation with Fowler. It's like, you know what? There's no one really like in front for the Heisman discussion right now. And Herbstreit brought it up, and I'm like, oh my God, he did it.
They're trying to talk it into reality. Let's be honest.
It's like I was like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. You did it, you crazy son of a bitch. You did it. I was literally Jeff Goldblum. You did it, you crazy son of a bitch. did it. You
I
actually
understood
uttered
that reference.
you uttered it. You uttered it, and it's like, oh no! Like, and here's the thing: this is why I make a big deal of that, because I've talked about it like 2 days in a row on my channel. And Herb Street is an influencer. You have Instagram influencers, you have like Twitter influencers, YouTube influencers. Kirk Herbstreit is a college football influencer, whether you agree or disagree. He just is. I believe he has these superpowers because when back in 2007, Oklahoma's beating #1 Missouri by 3 touchdowns, he's saying LSU should play Ohio State instead of 2-loss Oklahoma against 2-loss LSU. And, whatever happened. That was a crazy year, kind of like this one. But
it's funny. I'm still gonna drive that home, Sean. Remember back like 5 preview vids? It's starting to look like 2007. No, we're good. No, it really is
it was too early to say that. But now, I mean, I don't want to say we're there because there hasn't been. We need another #1 upset. We need another one of those. So someone's got to be Georgia. It would be really stupid if it was. I know it would be really stupid if it was Florida. And to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't be shocked by it. I wouldn't be at this point. But we got like 2 weeks till that game. But the Heisman stuff is interesting because I'm going to tongue in cheek this all season just to be an asshole. Excuse me. I will definitely be that guy who like pumps up, who just like says Caleb for Heisman. Come on, man! Like, look at him. But if no one really separates themselves, that's been playing all year, because they really wanted to pick Bijan yesterday. They wanted to go with Bijan. Oh, they said, you know what? He lost yesterday, but he still had a great game. They really want to, and guys are. I mean, Desmond Ridder of Cincinnati is. If Desmond Ridder had played anybody worth a damn, I mean, I know Notre Dame is great and all, but Notre Dame kind of sucks. I know they're a 1-loss team. Nobody's talking about Notre Dame. They're just not that interesting.
It's because they passed them yesterday in all-time wins.
Yeah, and we're probably going to pass Texas if things keep going a certain direction by the end of the year. Who knows? We need a few more losses, and maybe next year it'll happen. But I
mean, right now the only next quality game they might have is if SMU keeps going as the way they are, is only them, and that's on November 20th.
Yeah. Right, and SMU is got to get there undefeated too. But like for Heisman guys, some people are going to put Bryce Young. Or some people are trying to get Stroud from Ohio State back in the mix to begin with. And like, he's just, the Heisman Trophy is like, Stroud is like, he's not even the best player on his team. You know what I mean? Like, I think Travion Henderson or Olave is it Olive or Olave? I think it's Olave, but like those two guys are better than him as football players, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
but I think this is one of the years that we rarely have like anybody that is a clear front runner for the Heisman. I mean, like if you go back to the preseason, everybody is sort of like out of the contention now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
reminds me a lot of the year RGB and
RGB. Red, green, blue. Are we adjusting our television sets?
Yeah,
we are because we're. I mean, Robert Griffin III and Lamar Jackson. Like those years, it seemed like those were also like really down years, and they were really trying to pick somebody.
Yeah, well, it was just.
He also had a Heisman moment too.
Well, Lamar Jackson had his moment, when they, went against Florida. If I'm not mistaken, it was like week 2, Florida State, when they were like number 2 in the country at that point. And then basically he played his heart out against Clemson, but basically ended up a yard short.
Yeah, Lamar was definitely a pick for the Heisman. Don't get me wrong; he was really great. He deserved it. But like, I was like being totally the biased individual that I was when he fumbled the ball deep in Kentucky territory, and then Kentucky picked up the ball and drove down the field and won the game. I'm like, well, he just lost the Heisman. Give it to Baker. That was 2015 Baker. That was never going to happen. Or was it 2016? It was either 15 or 16. I can't remember which year.
I think it was 16.
Yeah, it's probably 16 because he was splitting votes with Dede anyway.
Yeah.
But for Caleb, it's like I always talk about the 3 things you need. You need to have a story, you need to have a moment, you need to have stats. He's not going to have the stats. Like, if pretend he wins it this year for whatever reason. you're going to look at his numbers, like, those are weird numbers. It's like, that's all he got. That's it. That's all he got.
Yeah.
But you got the other 2 out of 3 potentially. You're the backup quarterback who was behind the presumed Heisman favorite. I don't know how much more juicy you can get for a story for all the writers and voters out there. And number 2, name me a football player as of October 17, 2021 that has a bigger Heisman moment than Caleb Williams. You can't name
Gabe Burkick.
No,
Give it to the kicker.
No. He missed a kick last night, so he's off. He's out.
Yeah.
No, he didn't miss a kick. It was the field goal got in the way of his kick. I'm just saying, it moved.
No.
Okay. This is an interesting thought, but okay. I was gonna say this, but do you guys remember when Trevor Lawrence got replaced? I think it was like who was he? Who did he replace?
You mean Kelly Bryant got replaced by Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. Like Kelly, it just sort of has that weird feel for some reason. I know we don't have like Clemson's defense. I know that though too, but it's just the way how the offense responded after the young kid came in and everything. It's just like, everything just sort of like it's sort of like taken off. I don't want to get that far ahead, but that's kind of where it almost feels like at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, like when he was, I don't remember which game he replaced him in, but he ran out there with his maybe it's Maybelline face and won a bunch of games and a national title, and the rest is history. And he won a big game in London today. But yeah, I get what you're feeling. It's like Kelly Bryant was and I don't think Kelly Bryant was even quote unquote Spencer Rattler bad, mind you. It was just obviously it was enough to get him benched and pulled, but like it was like he was the QB during that for the 2017 year for that playoff, and Bama just just destroyed them. It's the only playoff game I haven't ever watched because I was emotionally and physically exhausted and literally had to sleep off the what I had witnessed at the Rose Bowl. But it's just for Caleb, it's like I've stated that he needs to. It's a big ask, but he has to play exactly like he's been playing for the rest of the season. Like he has to be boom, 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 and even then, if he does that, I think he'll get an invite to New York.
Yeah.
Winning it, because you're asking a bunch of old curmudgeons to like do something different and unique, which is a lot to ask from old people who vote, who have regional biases already and have their guy in their head picked already. But if no one's got a guy right now, so
you should see. Speaking of the old curmudgeons and stuff, you should have seen about outrage and everything like that. I saw it on social media and stuff today where people were freaking out that OU has an 11 a.m. kick against Kansas. Why would they, the number 3 team in the nation, get an 11 a.m.? I'm like, guys, it's Kansas. At Kansas. No one cares.
No, I'm happy. I get to go to wrestling. Shut up, people.
Also, I wanted to make sure that Biggie got his comment, and he mentioned, and I wanted y'all's thoughts on it. What about throwing Bryson Washington in at safety?
Obviously he'd be playing safety if he was. He's on special teams. He made a great heads-up play calling for that fair catch.
Yeah,
like for real.
Yeah.
But overall, just like if he was good enough, he'd be playing. I'm just saying. At some point.
Then again, like it would depend though, like what goes on in practice. But right now, I don't know if they're going to have practice open to the media right now.
I mean, it's never been open to the media. All the media ever gets to see is like warm-ups once a week. So they don't get to see. The media getting to watch and observe practice has been gone. That has not been happening
for years.
Yeah, Bob put an end to that crap.
Yeah.
Is that okay? And that's Gavin, you may know, and so Sean, with that, does that happen at other programs? I can't even think off the top of my head of them being that.
Yes, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. I mean, I can't name them like on a list off the top of my head. I'm sure certain guys will get more access than others, depending if you kiss the ring of certain coaches, obviously. But yeah, of course, like I mean. I talk to Georgia fans. Like Kirby Smart is like a dictator. Like he hates the media. Like he doesn't give the media.
Oh, they all hate the
media. So like Riley comes off as more, charming and likable during his Tuesday pressers. He still doesn't tell you crap if he doesn't want to tell you anything. And the thing is, what I found like this week is that it's a mixture, but the majority of the fans don't care that the media doesn't get access. They just really don't. They really don't care.
You're gonna rile them.
They don't care. They really don't care.
Right.
Okay,
you are.
I
right.
care. I would love for Murdoch and Jason Kersey and all these guys to have a little bit more extra sauce to work with when they write their stories, and we can find out more things.
But let's be honest here, and Gavin, you can and Sean, you can both back me up on this. The red pill, and this is the thing the media don't want you to admit, but it's the truth. If OU was to shut down all media access, OU's not losing any beat because they're in-house. OU does not need the local media anymore.
Yes, yes, they do. Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do. I disagree with that whole. No, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay, Okay, here's the thing. You can push it to a point, but the last thing you want is to have your local guys turn against you, because you know what happens then? Dirty laundry gets aired as soon as it gets found out a lot more, because this is college football. I guarantee you there's a couple guys on this team who may or may not be getting away with something. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just telling you based on stats and analytics over like 100 years. We've cleaned out a couple knuckleheads in the offseason already. There might be one or two more that we're unaware of. So all I'm saying is it's like you do not want to completely have them turn on you. That's what I'm saying. You don't want Barry Trammell and Kerry Murdoch and Kersey or anyone who could be a mouthpiece for you. Like, I guarantee you, like the Alabama, and plus, yeah, they're scared of them. All college football powerhouses have the media at times out of the palm of their hand, but the stronger media presences for certain schools are like big city schools, Miami and USC, for example. This is LA. I'm not scared of you. This is Los Angeles. There's more than enough people who will be willing to go around and do what they need to do to get a story. And at the end of it, props to the OU Daily for doing what they did. I think they went maybe a little too far, but I understand why they did it. I understand why they got the binoculars and they recorded.
I'm totally against them on it, but that's me.
No. Listen. Here's what they did. This is their crime that they committed. They blatantly disobeyed an unwritten rule, and they went and found out who got the most snaps at quarterback on a Tuesday or a Monday.
Well, it's not an unwritten rule. It really is.
They said it was an unwritten rule, so they're trying to have it both ways. They're trying to have it both ways. But
speaking from someone who worked at Sooner Vision for 3 years,
you work for the state as well. So you also work. You work for state television. You work for the state. So remember, I'm not talking about the state of Oklahoma. I'm talking about the evil empire that is the Oklahoma Sooners. So
correct.
You are partially brainwashed to their ways, Josh. So let's get that out of the way.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That being said, I also see it on the flip side where the Daily is still, they say that they're an independent organization, but they still have to follow the rules of the campus. When Lincoln Riley or Bob or whoever says this is a closed practice, they have to follow it. They don't get to go around it. I know where they were spying from because I've been on that balcony. It's on the journalism building, the 3rd floor. I've sat up there when Bob Berry was doing
At the end of the day, though, I didn't go on and on about it too much this week, but I'm
releasing a video about it tomorrow because I wanted more time.
I tried to have it's old news at this point.
It is, but I wanted more time.
You should have if you were going to do that, you should have struck while the iron was hot, my man. If you got to hit it when people this point, it's over. There's nothing.
I'm gonna.
I know, and I'm gonna mention that tomorrow. But I wanted more time before it was too emotional or anything like that.
I'm gonna just say this, and I have where I work with people that are reporters and anchors and all that and everything. I have heard a lot of people actually commending the anchor, the people that were investigating, who was wanting to be starting QB. I've been hearing a lot of good props, which to say the least, though, where. It was sort of like the heightened discussion. It was the hot topic of the state. It was like everybody wants to find, that little bit of nugget or information, trying to figure out, who's going to be at QB1, during that week. I mean, I even, was even looking at it, all of this and everything, and it was like there was, and I want to confirm this. And Josh, you might know this. Isn't it true that they also have like where the windows like towards the practice facility, like it's like fogged
Yeah,
up
they're
or something
frosted.
like that?
Yeah, they're
like,
frosted. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
that's where Gavin, that's the problem in this scenario though, is the journalists are at least again from what I've observed, what I've seen, what I've heard from the past week, the journalists are the ones that commending themselves. It's the everybody else saying, no guys, you kind of crossed the line, putting aside OU with the sacred cow kind of thing. They said you're not the Oklahoman, you're not the Tulsa World. Like y'all need to reel it back. You got to follow what the OU admin is.
Oh, so
the problem is they're also trying to spin it too, because it's a public building if you're a student or a staff member. Like I can't walk in there and go to the 3rd floor anymore there. Sean, you can't either, neither can Gavin.
Listen, I've learned a lot in life that if you just walk around in a 3-piece suit with a clipboard and a pencil and you act like you're supposed to be there, nobody really messes with you.
Just like that kid from that got into the Texas A&M game, right?
See, exactly. If you act like you're supposed to be there, 9 times out of 10, no one is going to mess with you.
Yeah, and besides that, if and I'm not kidding you, because you got to go through a lot of the credential checks and everything, man.
Correct.
It's a task, and I'm just saying this because I've heard this because with me working at a news department and all that and everything, I hear all the stories about it. So
it's no different when I worked at Supervision, Gavin, when they made it very clear, like we were in the same room with the other athletes when they said this is kind of the media rundown kind of stuff that happens. Like they said, guys, you're working for OU, we're just letting you know, don't even do fantasy football. We don't want that rolling back to us on it, because if someone's betting, that's going to come back to us. We don't want to go on probation. And they made it a point. Like there are things you cannot do. Don't cross the line essentially with it, because they will let you go first before they punish the athletes. They made that very clear to us with it. And that's the thing is with the OU Daily kids, like they won't get any more press credentials for the rest of their time at OU at this point. Admin's going to make that very clear to them. Like, yeah, you're kids, but
I think the question asked last Tuesday as like, is Spencer Rattler kind of like she paraphrased, is Spencer Rattler just kind of a jerk because we all kind of hate him on campus? And like, could you tell us why he's such a big meanie and a jerk?
That's what I want to know. I've heard all those.
I love that one, and Riley handled it like a pro. But I love that. I just heard that's like, oh, that's got to be someone from the Daily, and it's like, why is Spencer Rattler such a meanhead?
Well, if those videos of QB1 are starting to resurface, though, you might just find your answer.
It's like it's pretty evident. Like Spencer looked like he was on his best behavior last night, though.
He was chilled on the sidelines. I mean, I saw a couple.
Well, when you have all that pressure off your shoulders, and it's not like no one's booing you anymore, and you just kind of just stand there, look pretty. It's like, well, I'll just I'm gonna take everyone's advice and just do my part here, and then transfer to wherever in December.
Yeah,
everyone in the stadium was like, I can't wait to see Spencer Rattler as a Texas Tech transfer next year.
Yeah. Hey, before we move on and everything, I do want to mention this though too, and Biggie has sort of point this out. I think we've discussed this a little bit, but Gentry Williams is going to be deciding where he's going to commit tomorrow.
Yeah, he's committing to OU. Spoiler alert. Anyway, we can move on. Like, look at his other choices, and like, it's pretty obvious where he's going. It's like he has been. There is no indication he's going anywhere else. Like you look at all like Florida, USC. What was the other one?
Missouri.
He ain't going any of those places. He's going to OU. He's staying home.
Yeah.
Which is a big get still for us though.
Well,
still.
I do want to say, and I just want to put this out though too. Gentry Williams actually did have like one bad game where it was so bad he actually got ejected.
It's not that he didn't have a bad game.
Nope.
He got pissed off. Like he got ejected because of unsportsmanlike and pissed off. So
yeah,
it happened. It happens.
I don't know. I'll send you. I could probably send you guys a link about this. But
no, I know what you're talking about. I remember hearing about it. It was I think
Choctaw.
No, I know. I think Prisbilla was at that game, and it was the Sooner Scoop curse where they go see guys in person, and for whatever reason they don't play, or they have or something bad happens. It's like called the Sooner Scoop curse. And I think they went to see Gentry, and it's like he gets ejected. It's like I think they went and saw Sexton play the other night, like the O-line commit, and did well. I mean, offensive lineman, mind you, but still.
Yeah.
I remember getting to this debate. Like, there was this one guy on Twitter who was just so like petrified that, like, because he was taking other visits, he took a visit to SC or Florida or whatever, and every indication is that he was still leaning OU even back then. And it was this like silly little, why aren't we offering him at wide receiver? Why would they offer him at wide receiver? Just so they could give us something else to do. It's like, they're offering him at defensive back. He's a defensive back. He also plays quarterback for his team in high school. Yeah, but why don't we offer him at receiver so we have a bargaining chip for other schools? And like, you try to say, like, because they're not offering him at wide receiver. They have wide receivers. This is before we got a bunch of decommits or whatever. But the point of the matter is, it's like, he's going to play defensive back wherever he goes. He ain't a 5-star quarterback. He's a 4-star DB, a corner. Like,
right, and that's, I mean,
but like, this one person is like, but why don't they do something different? It's like, and you're trying to be nice and not call this person a moron, and it's like really hard to not do that. But it's like, you're just pulling shit out of the air because you're scared of losing him for whatever reason.
And that's, you mentioned that, Sean. I remember when I was talking to, I was trying to remember who it was from one of the autograph sessions, and they said they don't understand, like, when a player goes to another school, sometimes with it, when it comes down to the wire, it's not because of position and stuff. Like, they're going to offer you're going to play at this position, and that's it. If they want to play quarterback, they may have to go to another school to go.
Why don't we offer Gabe Dindy to play safety? Let's have Gabe Dindy play safety because he's a 5-star defensive tackle. But we need a safety. It's like,
no, you get this.
I can't argue that. You know, we should just offer him to play safety. Let's have a 280-pound safety back there.
Let's do it. I say let's do it, Sean. Let's do it. Let's commit to it.
I mean, you don't want to be a wide receiver going over the middle against Gabe Dindy.
Yeah. Although
targeting.
And I will say this, you know, I think if anything, it's just going to be an interesting look at this though too, because with that and everything else though too. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be for the 2022 class. I got to look at this class again. It's been a while since I've actually.
Yeah, but you got to do your homework, man. I'm disappointed.
I know.
Yeah, Gentry's 20. No, Gentry's 2022. No, Gentry's 2022. Like, Gabe Dindy's 2022. Gentry's 2022. Yeah. Chris McClellan is the other guy in state.
That was going to be. Is Williams going to bring McClellan with him?
I don't know. We're also like going after. We apparently are in the conversation for another big time defensive tackle commit who had a really nice visit. His name is it's like Kanu, is a Hiro Kanu. So out of California, Rancho Santa Margarita, California. So he apparently had a really good visit.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were picking him to go Ohio State. So my guess, it's down to like, we have two options: is either Kanu or McClellan. So it's like, whoever wants to say yes first gets the spot. But it'll be interesting to see if, like, I don't know if they couldn't take both. I don't see why they couldn't, but because I know the NCAA put out a thing where not only can you take 25 for your class, but now they're starting to let you take up to 7 more guys if you lose transfer portal stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So it'll be interesting to see how many spots can you play with, because you could have more guys transfer in transfer portal or go get more high school players. Either way, I'm a happy camper. It allows Riley, is like, oh, I have like more cards to play with. You know, like sometimes when you have more Uno cards, you don't want to have more Uno cards, but it's a good to draw 4, draw 7. Here you go, take more.
Well, and you know, it's funny you mentioned that too with I lost my train of thought on that one, but yeah, like. Yeah, it's good to have options.
Your train went and ran over Iowa. Like,
I
mean,
it was
like that Amtrak.
I will say this: just hearing the news from McClellan, and he just plays like just a little down the road from me, down over in Owasso, though. Too, I mean, he's pretty good. But he actually transferred over to like a small Tulsa school, which was just basically like was going nowhere with him at that point. Basically, transferred to kind of get himself, much more better chance to get himself a better target and everything. And it kind of turned out to be a good move on his part.
Mm-hmm.
So,
have you seen him in person so far, Gavin?
Nah, I haven't got a chance to see him in person yet, but I'm probably going to plan on doing so pretty soon, because like because I've been just kind of keeping an eye on some of the kids around here, and I've just been looking at it right now. Like some of these kids that are coming up, it's like there's been like a lot of really good athletes that have been seeing a lot of good potential at this point, that have been around the Tulsa area, which Tulsa has always been, I don't want to say it's like the hottest hotbed or anything, but it's like a lot of good, you get like a good few recruits here and there that are around there though too that you might not see.
Well, it's Tulsa. You got Booker T.
within
You
the
got
area.
Jenks. You have Union. You have all those schools up there. So it's just
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, but I will say this: Bixby, on the other hand, though, is starting to become like quite a really good school for quite a little while. I mean, heck, they've won 43 straight already.
Yeah. I went to Shawnee for a semester, so Creed Humphrey went there. So I'm kind of sort of I went to Shawnee for a semester until I dropped out and joined the Army. So yeah, Shawnee Wolves all the way.
Shawnee did beat Lawton Mac in my like 7th grade year of
the only thing I know about Shawnee, the high school, Shawnee High School, is that I went there for a semester. Creed Humphrey went there, and Jim Traber had a shouting match with the head coach on his show years ago. I think it's on YouTube somewhere, and it's really it's like two old grumpy men just arguing over silly stuff
on a park bench.
Yeah.
Speaking of high school, I was telling Gavin, Sean, that this weekend was loaded too, because Friday I went to my old high school, a game down the street against Noble, and I know the people there, and I was like, okay, I want to visit with y'all, so I'm going to buy my ticket. Where y'all going to be in the stands? They're like, oh no, just come to the sidelines. I got to hang out on the sidelines.
Someone's breathing heavily into their mic.
It's not me, sir.
Probably.
Is it you?
Sorry.
This FYI.
Gavin was just so engaged on this story. But no, I got to hang out on the sidelines on Noble Bears side. My alumni won, but it was, man, they have a shifty little number 4 running back, and he scored 4 touchdowns in the game, and I think 3 of those were returns for kickoffs. Like 3 of them. And I saw the head coach from Noble take his headset and slam it on the ground, and it broke. I was like, does he do that a lot? They're like, no. He gets animated, but that was a new headset. He doesn't do that. So I'm like, yeah, I would be pretty upset too if you allowed the guy to return 3 touchdowns in one game from a kickoff. Biggie, my high school alum is Lawton Mac. I'm a Lawton thug. So, but yeah, well, in our comments too, Sean and Gavin, somebody mentioned Latrell.
We talked about
him. How did he do?
I'm sorry. You meant I thought you meant talking about McClellan again. I mean, he's a true freshman. He obviously stripped the ball that almost scored a touchdown, like a fumble return. If Deshaun White just holds on to the damn ball, we don't get right back to him.
Deshaun, don't be the hero. Just don't.
We didn't need a hero. Just go out of bounds. You kid, man. It's all good. But
man, I hate that rule. That's such a dumb rule, a touchback rule for that. Ugh. But to be fair, with the wide receiver who pulled it right out of his hands, like that was such a big play. Like I was impressed seeing that. I'm like, guys, there's nothing you can say against that. Like that was such a big play. Like kudos to him for doing that. Man, I will say that too. Speaking of that, at the game yesterday, man, I know they said to try to get the crowd to bring it to the game like they did against Texas, but man, for the first time in years, man, that crowd was the most obnoxious OU crowd I've been in quite some time. I'm like, guys, y'all need to freaking chill. Like there's points where I was just like, my goodness, did y'all pregame the pregame before the pregame? Goodness gracious. We had people getting arrested next to us. There was people like screaming on every single play of like, why don't we have any linebackers? Like, my goodness.
Well, no, some people are miserable to watch a football game with, and you can tell who they are around your section or in your live stream chat. And apparently all those people show up to my live stream chat, and I hate them. I mean, I don't really hate them. Like I call them out for the BS, and it's the same thing as like they just like everything's the worst and everything's terrible and there's no good in anything. And I'm at the point where I'm just going to block people at that point. It's like I'm losing my patience. Like I had to block people because like a couple weeks ago I was like, man, I wish this Spitz Rattler would just get injured. I'm like, what? I booted that bro and just like, no, we're not putting up with that crap.
That drove me nuts last night too. With when you remind me of it with Gary Patterson, he got booed at the end for it, but like doing the timeout and stuff, just not letting the game. And like Gary, you're really gonna go for it. Like there's no reason to give these guys reps for it. Just knee it and in the game. Like
whatever.
I think that was such Bush League of Gary to do that, and he was getting lost. I don't blame him.
Whatever. Like I'm not.
On the plus side, Eric Gray get his first touchdown though.
I'm not gonna like lose sleep over that Gary Patterson called a timeout late in the game when it didn't matter. Like, believe me, there were a lot worse crimes that happened last night in the college football world that are more egregious. So yeah, I'm not.
I guess it was just like the perfect storm. Like the refs last night.
We're not even gonna remember. No, we're not even gonna remember it in a week or two. If that, if someone holds on to that for a week or two, like you got a bunch of loser OU people on like message boards complaining about like the homecoming like celebration and who got voted what, and like it's like it's 5 pages long, and you could really you really identify who are just the biggest losers on message boards because they're actually losing their minds over that there wasn't a traditional homecoming king or queen. It was 2 dudes that were most popular students or whatever. I don't know how OU does it. Exactly. It's like I don't like. I'm almost 40. The last thing on my mind after my team is 7-0. Has a Heisman level quarterback, we're in the playoff hunt, is like, you know what? I was really just like, why does OU not have a traditional homecoming king and queen? Why is it 2 dudes? Are they gay? What's going on here? It's like, you really identify the losers who are just going back and forth with people about how insecure they are about their manhood. And
oh my gosh, that's just oh my goodness.
And look, you don't have
last night. Like we were cracking jokes. We're like, yeah, most of the fans just don't care. We just want to get back to the game. But
and look, I don't listen. I'm not here to tell you how to like approve or disapprove or whatever the fuck. Excuse me. What I'm saying is like, are you really gonna let it ruin your day or your night? Like, is that where you're at? Right? Is that where you're at right now? So I just found like the longest thread today wasn't like, yeah, Caleb Williams is awesome. Hey, we moved up to number 3 in the AP poll. Man, I hope we get some of our injured players in the secondary back. Or man, I hope recruiting like Gentry Williams is like, no, it's a 7-page thread of like people being mad about homecoming. And it's like there's just a lot of dudes in there who were they weren't, I guess they weren't voted homecoming queen at their high school. They're just very upset. They didn't get to wear the pretty crown. I think that's where it really delves down to. They weren't pretty enough. They just weren't pretty enough. They weren't pretty and popular enough.
They just didn't have that pretty princess mode engaged.
They didn't get the crown and create their own zombie army to take. Okay, that's a whole different story. But moving on.
I understood that reference.
Yes, you did.
But no, that's. Oh gosh, like me and Andrew last night, we were just being, as you said, like tongue in cheek on like, okay, it's cool. This is their halftime. It's homecoming. We just want to get back to the game. Nobody cares, but
like go to the bathroom, get a hot dog, a collector's souvenir cup, you losers.
Yeah, like this is their halftime, guys. Like, at the end of the day, it's still a student game. I can say as alumni, like, homecoming doesn't move me one way or the other, but it's never has. Like, I was never part of big student organizations or anything like that. I think the closest thing, and Sean, you will make fun of me, is like when Kelby and I were part of the Harry Potter Club there, and that's it. Like, I just didn't do anything on campus. I went to the games to watch the games.
Oh yeah, I would have like totally. Not only would I have made fun of you, I would have pulled pranks in the Harry Potter Club and mocked you. You know, just for liking Harry. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely. There was no anime club on campus though. I'm very disappointed at that during my time. There was no anime club.
Wait! A college campus doesn't have an anime club? What kind of what barbaric campus did you live on that like? You have like a freaking anime store, like on campus area, like stores.
You
like,
have visited, and Heather and John.
Yes, and I forced you to buy that manga that you probably have not read yet, and use it as a doorstop or something.
No, I'm not going to use Heather doorstop. I need to actually read it because that's when all that stupid COVID. I'm not going to get into the COVID stuff. Not going to get into it.
It's a beautiful green book full of comedy from Marika Takahashi, and you haven't read it yet. Of course, you haven't. Anyway,
I need to read it.
Biggie is so scared and confused, has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose a subscriber right away because of it.
Yeah, and I just have been pretty much silent where I don't know if I really can give Biggie any commentary at this point because I'm just kind of here in the little corner right here. Just like
Biggie's like Sean is clearly a Panko commie liberal who's a nerd and likes all this other stuff. And, you know, that's I'm going to get the hell out of this mess. So,
I mean, didn't you know, like, this is an anime live stream at this point? We were going to talk about anime and everything at this point in iShield 21.
Whoa, first of all, now, even anime fans don't talk about iShield 21. I'm the only one who likes that show. So,
well, shit. Actually, no, you are one of two people. My friend Marissa, she, not a sports person at all, likes iShield 21.
Oh, well, why don't you like iShield 21? You got two people in your life. It's like you have a Crunchyroll account. Watch it.
I don't have a Crunchyroll account.
It's like $7. Get a Crunchyroll account.
Josh, you need to unsubscribe from whatever other thing you have and get a Crunchyroll account.
Actually, you can watch it for free with ads. You can watch it free ad supported. Actually, so there.
Really? Now I know. See, now I know. Now I know. The world is coming in place. One question for you, for both of y'all from last night. Do you? I guess we're in the second hump right now, and this was all reminding me. We're in the second hump, kind of like let's get to the end of October undefeated. Then we have kind of the November stretch at this point. What team worries you right now with it? Mine's Baylor. Baylor to me at Waco, I just have bad vibes coming from that game.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying Dave Aranda keeps me up at night for a while now. Like he's been. I was worried about the Baylor game since we got through them last year, to be honest. I was like, oh, we get to go to Waco next year, and that's gonna be year 2 for Dave Aranda. And guess what? They're doing pretty damn well right now, and they could easily be undefeated right now with based on the game they played with Oklahoma State. So, yeah,
I would say, and this is just from going from for my top 3. Number 3 would be Iowa State, 2 Oklahoma State, and number 1 would be Baylor. That's kind of where I would have.
You're allowed to pick one, Gavin. He said 1, not your top 3. Gotta pick one. What's your one that fits the fear of God into you most, man?
It's Kansas, isn't it?
No.
I'm afraid someone tweaks an ankle during Kansas. That's what I worry about.
But I would just say in that sort of order that those are basically the order that kind of gets me more than anything. But Baylor would definitely be in the top.
It's just. I have bad vibes about that Baylor game. I just don't. I feel like right now we're kind of at the
lane, it's in Waco. It's in Waco too, which it's just like I don't know. It's like whenever it's in Waco, like I just kind of get like it's kind of you get those weird feelings. So usually it just really is. But of course, like. Last time we were in Waco, Jalen Hurts somehow basically was shooting himself so bad in the foot, and yet they basically pulled in an Atlanta job, which I have no idea how Baylor even did that.
The 28-3 lead, or throwing up on themselves.
but I would say blowing a 28-3 lead. I mean, how on earth do you blow a 28-3 lead? You are
The same
what are
way
you, the
Texas did
Atlanta
last week.
Falcons all of a sudden? I'm sorry. Was like one of those things. It's like if you're wanting to show off that you can play against the big boys and everything, you have to close out games. And it was like they didn't. They left
Yeah.
Oklahoma back in that game.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't know what it is. It's like I don't know if it's OU's just so good of rallying back or it's just other teams choking at this point. I really don't know.
Take that, Lane Kiffin.
Hey, he kept that golf ball at the end.
Yeah,
He absolutely did.
I would too. I would too.
By the way, I think Kiffin actually did catch that water bottle from you, Sean. So I don't know if you saw that. He actually did catch a water bottle.
We have a win over Lane Kiffin. Riley's 1-0 over Lane. So
yeah.
What was it? What school?
18, right? He was at Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic. That's it.
Yeah.
Or was it international? Was it Atlantic or international?
No. It was Atlantic.
Okay, yeah.
And that was when
they're both the same to me. It's no different.
They're
he
Florida
was.
schools.
It was FAU.
So, what? Next week, obviously, is our glorified scrimmage against Kansas. There's not really a whole lot to talk about with them. Kansas sucks.
Do you really want to? Do you want to break down Kansas?
I don't.
I don't. Hey, they gave Coastal Carolina a really good half of first quarter when they played them earlier this year. They gave them a hell of a half first quarter, and then the rest of the game happened. But yeah, so
stop the scoring now, Sean.
Yeah, I wonder if Georgia fans broke down the Vanderbilt game earlier this year.
No. Maybe for half a quarter for that.
But,
yeah, sure. No, not Kansas. I mean, the best thing about next week will be like the people going on the away game just to visit Lawrence.
I realize I'm going to make a quote unquote preview video for Kansas, and it's like, look, just go up there, win, and come home healthy. Like that. That'll be the shortest preview ever, but it'll be the storyline surrounding guys being healthy. Will they play? Will they not play?
That's what I expect. I think
that's kind of what it's going to be. Can Caleb Williams put up 1,000 yards of total offense on his own and like win the Heisman this week by himself?
And Biggie actually brings up a good point. No Puka.
Yeah.
Well, he been gone. He been gone a minute. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing though. Like next week, I only think the only storyline for Kansas is going to be I think Marcus Major is going to get most of the reps for running back. I think they're going to let Kennedy and Gray rest.
Are you? What makes you say that?
I think they just want to give Marcus Major just enough for and rest up Kennedy for Texas Tech.
I mean, you're assuming that they're up like 50-0 at halftime, right? Like, because they're not just going to give Marcus Major the ball to start the game. So that's
I think
not
they
how
would.
Works.
I think they would with it, but that's
they would.
I
like,
figured
he hasn't, but he hasn't been playing with the first team. He's been on the scout team this whole time. So he's just like he got one or two like plays last night. So they're not just going to start the game. Here's Marcus Major, you start. No, they're not doing that. I promise you that.
Now that said too, speaking of the running backs, and you reminded me on it, is it fair to say that I just have not been impressed by Gray this entire year? Like I understand, like we faced the O-line's had trouble, but I guess I've just not been impressed with like his play.
Give it time. Just give it time.
How much more time though?
Because we have a brand new quarterback who's going to get him the ball in space. Like, give him time. Give him time.
I think the thing is, though, and this is where I've had the issue about this. It's that, I think you brought this up, Sean. Like with Williams in there as a threat, the problem is that he, Gray does have the speed, but I'm just really concerned about some of the reads that he has though going into it right now.
Well, he's not as good as Kennedy Brooks. I'm not here to tell you that, but it's been what a game and a half we've had with our new QB, and the running game has improved immensely.
Yeah.
Gray has to get involved a little bit more. I agree, but the O line has been very consistent. They've been moving pieces around. They've been moving Eric Swenson all over the place to fill holes where guys have been hurt. You've had Harrison like dinged up, like they're moving guys with Harrison or Wanya Morris, and Andrew Rame is like slowly getting better as a center. So this is the game where you can give Gray the ball and he'll be effective. I promise you that. Like, this is the game to do it. So if you only want to give Kennedy Brooks like 10 carries or whatever, and give Gray and Major all the other reps, fine. I'm all for it. Like, do it. So it's just like, I'm not giving up on Eric Gray because I know what he's capable of. You can get him the ball out of the backfield. He can make plays. I've seen him do it this year before. It is possible. He's more effective as that type of a player, in my opinion, than between the tackles. Kennedy Brooks is your between the tackles guy. So I'm not like giving up. You can say you're not impressed with him, and I understand why you say that. But again, just be patient. We're a game and a half. We're a game and a half into like the greatest quarterback in the history of the school. The way things are going.
Right. Well, and to Gray's credit, I also think we're using him incorrectly. I think we're using him like Kennedy Brooks, except Kennedy's the power runner, and they need to use Gray more in open space in east-west, not north-south.
God, I can't wait till we get running backs next year.
Yeah, and
Javante Barnes, please commit already.
and I will. Oh, sorry about that. I feel like at this
you got to get his channel flag down. What is going on here?
I just and I brought this up too, and I know you guys and I hope and I think you guys would agree with me. With the way how we feel like with Brooks and Brooks and Gray, it has like somewhat to where like Gray has like the flashes and everything like Joe Mixon almost. That's what Gray actually feels like, if anything. Somewhat of that Joe Mixon type of back, because I know he can actually do well out of the backfield, not just as a running back, but also kind of swinging out, making plays out in open space, going along that sort of route. I kind of see that as where Brooks, he reminds me a lot of P. Ryan, but man, he has like the patience and the vision. I mean, he's not as strong as P. Ryan, but man, he just that patience and knowing, letting the play develop, then getting that burst out there. I mean, that's what it feels like with me with with these two backs. It just reminds me of that, to be honest. With that sort of tandem.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. Well, was there anything else while I'm thinking about TCU for a moment? Was there anything else last night that you were impressed by from it, or besides? I mean, I know the secondary needs work, or anything else we haven't mentioned really about TCU or OU at that point.
It
was a very. I mean, I expected them to come out flat, and they kind of did. But
but I will say this: it's like I think like. Besides Caleb Williams doing good, I mean, let's say I'm going to say this: like Hazelwood got his hat trick. I think he really took a step up because he's been quiet. I feel like for so long now, and then all of a sudden Williams comes in, and man, he just came out on fire. In that game,
he took all his anger out from not getting any touchdowns on TCU.
Yeah, and like you get 3 of those right there in the game. I feel like, this is finally the Hazelwood that we've been wanting to see for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I think that's where a lot of people are not realizing it. Hazelwood, he almost has that, basically like that possession type sort of receiver in a sense, not really the speed, like same with Marvin Mims or anything like that. But man, he has like it's almost like has that CD type of receiver mentality almost. It feels like with the way he was playing a little bit.
Maybe,
but I feel like Hazelwood finally had himself showing out a little bit once Caleb started to come in. It really started to show more than anything.
It's because Caleb can throw the ball much better, and he can actually get it to his receivers.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got that too, but I'm just finally glad to finally have Hazelwood, involved a little bit more and finally getting some touches and some touchdown receptions as well.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah. Sean,
Yeah,
do you have any final thoughts on this particular game and stuff as well? I mean, it was a kind of lack. I mean, I told Gavin before you came on that I think it always felt like there was like one or two possessions they were trying to do to get drama with it, but otherwise, like it was a pretty just lackluster type of game with it.
Lackluster for who now?
For OU, like there wasn't anything like we were thinking like Nebraska or West Virginia or anything like that or anything like that. It was just a very like kind of standard game that what we expected from it.
Oh, I think, but crazy people don't realize is that we won a football game by more than a touchdown. Hello, like
we're allowed to do that.
For the first time all year against opponent with a pulse. So
what? We're allowed to do that. Next, you're going to tell me OU can score over 50 points.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the fact that hey, we're going to do that this week, and we'll probably do it again next week against Texas Tech. Now, Tech can score points too. I don't think they're going to be as effective as TCU. Knock on wood, but it's because their defense is atrocious as well. So you got to take advantage of like a light road environment with Kansas, and then you come home for Tech, and then you get ready. Like the next 3 weeks, on the road Kansas, home Tech, a bye week. It's all about like just getting healthy and just getting ready for that November stretch. That's all that's really on my mind as an OU fan right now. And we're in mid-October with a 0 the loss column, and we're one of those teams that everyone's hoping will lose because you got Cincinnati, who's at AP number 2, but we're still a couple weeks out from when the first playoff polls start. I'm sure they'll be in the top 4 to some extent, but we got a lot of Big Ten matchups coming up. Like in 2 weeks, Michigan State are going to be a top 10 undefeated game. Ohio State and Penn State are going to all these teams. All 4 of those teams have yet to play each other. So Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State are all going to meet because they're all in the same division. And Iowa getting beat the way they did hurts the Big Ten's credibility a tad. But what I like about it is that it knocks out more of this garbage that 2 teams with the same conference are going to get in. It's less and less likely as the weeks go by. So like the Big Ten is going to eat itself up in the East. You'll have an undefeated or 1-loss team from the East take on Iowa. The winner is going to get in. Like I don't think Michigan State and Michigan, nice stories. They ain't getting through unscathed. They're not good enough to beat Ohio State, Penn State, and their in-state rival. Neither of those two are good enough to do that, in my opinion. So, and with Alabama and Georgia, if Georgia had anybody on their schedule that had a quarterback with a pulse, and Tennessee's starting quarterback got hurt, so that there goes that. Even that remote possibility. A couple weeks from now, you got Florida. Rivalry game, neutral site. We'll see. I'm not holding out hope if I'm a Florida Gator fan for that one, but I don't know, maybe because like they can put up points, but it's just I don't see it happening. So Georgia looks like the clear and above like best team defensively, and they have a solid offense. Bama might be the only team that can like go toe to toe with them, like in the SEC title game, and then you get in that argument of like who's gonna. If they win, who gets in or who stays out or whatever. But if you're Oklahoma, you have to if you're an Oklahoma fan right now, you have to like where you're at, despite all the drama and all the chaos. You've survived the horror movie week in and week out.
So here's another question, and this is something I would say though too. So if Cincinnati, so would you basically have you would still kind of keep this top 4 as it is right now? That would be in the college football playoff if the season was to end right now.
Who's a what now?
Would you agree with how the top 4 is being in the college football playoff as it is right now?
No, because I think Ohio State. I think Ohio State should be in the top 4. To be honest. Yeah,
it would probably be it'd be Georgia, OU, Ohio State, and gosh.
Like I think I look at Ohio State and I look at Oklahoma that they're going through like a year we've gone through where we have an early loss that we probably shouldn't have that they've changed they've changed like play callers in certain areas. They've gotten their crap together. They're starting to beat teams like they're supposed to. Like the days of them struggling with Tulsa are over. Like they've gotten over that hump. Like they are a better football team right now. And again, it's a tough stretch, but like all due respect to Cincinnati, I don't think they're better than Ohio State.
Here's my question for you. So we agree that since that Ohio State Oregon game, Ohio State's kind of gone up, Oregon's gone down. Would you say that
I was up late till like 1 or 2 in the morning watching that game with Cal? They barely escaped beating a 1-4 Cal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like
and they got
Oregon's
UCLA next week. That's where game day is going. So if you want Oregon to lose again at some point next week, probably is a good shot. So
And that's what I
Oregon,
was gonna say is
Oregon, even if Oregon wins out, like I know they beat Ohio State head to head, and like Oregon fans would get really mad. Like, and I would understand. I'd be in your shoes. But like,
I mean, we've been in that situation too.
If Ohio State Oregon played tomorrow, I'd pick Ohio State to just destroy them. Like, I would pick them to just destroy them, because how many times like we lost to Iowa State, we got a rematch and we beat them, or we lost to a team when we got a rematch. We lost to Texas, we got a rematch and we beat them. So it's like that's how I feel about Ohio State, Oregon. If they played again, oh yeah, I think Ohio State kill them.
Well, then who's your number 4 pick? Because if it's as it is right now, it'd be Georgia, OU, Ohio State.
Okay, here's how I honestly think it's going to go. Like, I think OU can win out because now we have we can score points again.
Hey, really fast before you say that's something to mention too. It's the first time since 2004 that if everything goes according to plan, OU will go undefeated into November. We haven't had an undefeated that time in quite.
No, I think I think 3 playoff teams, in my opinion. I think it's going to be very, very blue blood. I think you will have Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma in some sort of order. So what I'm telling you is I think Alabama is potentially beating Georgia, because So here's why I feel that way. Georgia, good defense, really great. It's quote unquote legendary. I am struggling to find, as the year goes on, fair or not. Listen, Georgia's doing their job. I'm not taking away from that. Most of the who is the big bad boy they beat? Now, Oklahoma hasn't beat any big bad boys either, in my opinion, so I'm throwing that too. But like, what I'm trying to say is like Kentucky, like Arkansas, I mean, they're okay, like. Clemson's very, Clemson at the time, monumental win. Clemson looks like ass now. Like that, it's good win at the beginning of the season. They won they won by the skin of their teeth. That's a good win overall, but
by a pick 6, no less.
Yeah, and they won by a pick 6. So, but Georgia
it's no
still they have I'm sorry, I don't see Stetson Bennett winning them a national title. I can't sit here like their defense is really good. Jordan Davis on that D line, far superior to our D line. Fantastic. But I'm sorry, Stetson Bennett is a midget. He is not going to win you a national title. I don't know what the hell is up with JT Daniels. I know they got Darnell Washington back. I know he's like the running backs are good, but don't sit here and tell me that Bama, Ohio State, or Oklahoma can't put points on that Georgia defense. As good as everyone is touting them to be, and credit where credit's due, they're getting the job done. Like, they are beating the crap out of everyone who's put in front of them. But most of the teams that have been put in front of them have been garbage, especially for SEC standards. So that's why I think the Florida game is like the last chance that you have of anyone legitimately contending with them, whether it's Anthony Richardson or whoever. They got into a shootout with LSU. If they need to fight, if Florida can score points on them, it's like Georgia in trouble, big trouble. But I think Bama rights the ship, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bama's in trouble." It's like, are they really? And they just took care of Mississippi State, no problem, the other night.
That's because Mississippi State got angry Bama. You don't get angry Bama and not get obliterated.
So I'm not throwing out Nick Saban as oh, Bama's in trouble. It's I'm not. I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends. So. Yeah. But I like OU. I like OU, Bama, and Ohio State to be in the playoff. And the question is going to be, do you take undefeated Cincinnati or one-loss Georgia? And everyone's going to have that is going to be the nightmare scenario. And Oregon's dropping another game too, by the way. They'll probably lose next week. So Oregon is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, but we'll cross that bridge.
Let me throw this at you. You threw the argument at it. Okay. Assume Bama beats Georgia in the SEC title game. Okay. What if Cincinnati
I don't think they should get in. I don't think they should get in.
Well, hold that thought. If Cincinnati does extremely well against SMU, do you put them at number 4 in the final one, assuming everything plays out as it should?
Look, it's like you're asking to whether put a group of 5 champ that went, and everyone's going to have bias for last year too. Cincinnati didn't win that game. They came very close, and I think it would have behooved Cincinnati to have won that game last year. And it was like down to the wire. But I think that could hurt Georgia too. The fact that it went down to the wire with them. It's my thing with Georgia is. It's like I'd be a hypocrite if I said you should get in if you lose your conference title game because you did that in 03. But it's just when you're threading the needle here, when you're splitting hairs, it's like I don't want that game to not mean anything. And that's why I'm glad Alabama took a loss, because I was really just like anticipating that awful, just eye-rolling, both teams going to get in no matter what happens. If they're both undefeated, they meet in Atlanta. Oh, just like vomit-inducing garbage. Like that game means, why are you, if it doesn't mean anything, why are you playing it? Like, go to the middle of the field, have a coin toss, figure out who gets what ranking, and then go back to the locker room, get on the bus, and leave. It's like, I hate that mentality. Oh, they're both in no matter what because you're just so much better than everybody. Oh,
they were talking about that on the radio with if OU and OSU win out. If, say, OU beat OSU in Bedlam, but then OSU beat OU in Bedlam or in the Big 12 championship because they would meet again in a following week, would you take OSU over OU for the playoff?
We didn't win the Big 12 championship. We're not getting in. Are you kidding me?
They are the main brand.
And guess what? Neither of us will get into a playoff if that happens. If we split games, it's like
it's done.
Like, no way. If that goes, if like OSU loses and then they win the next week, OSU ain't getting in.
Yeah,
they ain't getting in.
I mean, look, if Cincinnati wins out, it's hard for me to really say, that it would basically keep them out at this point. It's really hard for me to really say that though.
Oh, I could say that though. I could easily see that. That's the problem.
They don't want Cincinnati in. The big thing with Cincinnati is, and the secret is, let's be honest, guys, is they want teams that travel. That because it sells tickets.
No, Biggie, I disagree. I don't think Notre Dame is that good. I think they're garbage. I don't care what their record is. I understand, like, oh, they're good. No, like they've danced with the devil a lot this year too, but they finally got beat by a good team in Cincinnati that took them to the woodshed. And once again, they danced with the devil last week too against Virginia Tech. Should have lost that game. This Notre Dame team is not good. Like they've been like Oklahoma again. A lot of struggle.
The Devils too,
but. There's a reason you stack 5-star quarterbacks, and now it's a different football team with Caleb Williams. Different, transcending talent right there. And you couldn't say that before. Sorry, Spencer, but you just didn't have it this year. So, like, Notre Dame is going back and forth quarterbacks. They don't know who's going to start from one week or another. It's just, I don't buy Notre Dame. I watched a lot of Notre Dame this year. They suck. They really, really suck. So, that's why I think they really need that SMU game. Like they need that SMU game like later in the year to be like college game day, all the eyeballs, and Desmond Ridder needs to have a Heisman performance, and that could be your guy. Honestly, as much as I joke about and talk about Caleb, Desmond Ridder might be the Heisman winner this year. Like for real, like late November with that game potentially being as big as it is, and if he balls out, that's going to be your dude probably in a year where no one is the front runner. It's probably going to be Desmond Ridder. If I'm taking my hat off and being like unbiased, that could be your guy. So, and people will scream and yell about it, but who cares? It's like, give it to the Cincinnati QB. He earned it. But it's just one of those things where, listen, Cincinnati could miraculously drop a game to somebody. They could lose to SMU. Yeah. And Georgia could lose to Florida maybe. I don't know, but like you get past Florida, no one on Georgia's schedule's beating them unless they get in unless one of the buses like rolls off a cliff and they miss half their team. They got to play the defense on offense or whatever, or vice versa. It's just not going to happen. So I really think we're going to have like Bama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, whoever that 4 team is. That's where the debate's going to be potentially. That's where it seems like it's setting up. Because everyone else, it's just going to be.
Well, add this in too. Let's assume Bama, OU, Ohio State team number 4. I'm assuming Bama would be number 1. They would give Bama because it's what? It's they play in Athens this year, right? If OU's number 2 or 3,
Wait, what?
Huh?
where are the playoff sites again?
No, the
No.
playoffs. No, it's not in Athens.
No.
That's
Not
what-
Athens, Georgia. I thought number 1 was
Athens, Georgia is where the Georgia Bulldogs play.
Yeah. It's.
What do you? No,
Where am
it's
I
in,
thinking of then?
it's in Dallas and Miami.
Yeah.
Miami, that's what it was. So if Bama
How you confuse Miami with Athens, Georgia?
I was thinking
They ain't playing no playoff game between the hedges.
I thought it was Athens and for
no!
whatever.
No!
Arlington.
What are you talking about? No.
When do they ever play a game on their home site, Josh?
Who? For the playoff?
Yeah.
I was thinking that it would be home field advantage.
No. You got it to the point to where it's so bad, that you got Sean losing his headset.
It is what it is. No, what I was saying was if it
I'm
was
never
a-
coming on this show again, ever. It's embarrassing. Just embarrassing.
Wow.
Everybody gets one, Sean.
It's
Everybody gets
embarrassing. Just
one. No, where I was leading with
You
that
embarrass
was-
me. You embarrass your family. You embarrass everybody who's associated with the University of Oklahoma. It's like playing at Athens. Ridiculous.
So what
Explain
you're
it.
saying is dishonor on me, dishonor on my family, dishonor on my cow. Okay. Where I was going with this though
Don't forget the
was
chicken.
no, just the cow. Where I was going with that was regardless of who plays 1, if OU's at a number 2 and the potential 2 and 3, would they put OU at 4 to avoid OU playing in Arlington and having more of a home field advantage? Or would
I
they
don't
move
know.
it?
You're asking questions that are so far deep down the road that we don't have all the data to say.
When are the actual playoff rankings?
The
come out?
the first Tuesday night show is on the 2nd.
You're doing
on
that
the-
with Eric, aren't you?
Yeah, Eric's gonna join me for that. So first week is that. The second week is gonna be during the basketball halftime BS, which is like a pain in the ass.
It's like
and then-
okay, can we?
I
when
hate
do you
that. I
have
hate
time?
that. I hate that they do that so much. I hate that. Hate it so
Yeah.
much.
They just need to release it. It just causes so much drama. It's just
But that's why they do it. They want to have the show with the talking heads, and they want to have like all the idiots who have like useless opinions go on there and talk about how much they love Cincinnati or whatever. And
like Booger McFarland.
Booger's not really on that show. JoJo's on that show. Joey Galloway.
Oh, JoJo, our favorite.
JoJo's always on. And then you'll have Herb Street live via satellite from his home. Hopefully he doesn't cry.
Again.
He's an emotional man. Listen, it's okay to cry. I cry. I cried when Caleb Williams was announced the starting quarterback for Oklahoma. It was a beautiful moment for all of us. It really was. It was. I cried when that touchdown pass happened to Marvin
You cried
Mims.
when Goku gave his life up to save Gohan against Cell.
No, I didn't cry during that. No.
Okay.
No, I cried watching the Talking Frog cartoon a week ago.
There you go. See?
Like the Talking Frog cartoon is amazing. Like it's like 85% of that show is like the Smurfs, and then it becomes Magic Knight Rayearth crossed with Dragon Ball Z. It's like amazing. It's like what a sudden tone shift, but here we are.
Ribbit.
You go from like it's like the Smurfs, and then it's Magic Knight Rayearth and Dragon Ball Z.
All right. I want to bring this up as a final talking point. Big old coach down over at LSU is finally gone over there now. They're agreeing to just let him stay on the sideline for the rest of the year.
I have no opinion. I actually thought we were wrapping up.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up, but it was coming. I mean, I have no opinion of it honestly either. I think it was pretty obvious, like with all the off-season drama with Odron, they just want to exit as quickly as possible with him, just to get over the drama so they can focus on the other stuff. And I think the only reason they're keeping him around is they don't want to do the payout.
No, they are doing the payout.
Oh, they are? Cool.
No,
then.
no. He's
I'm
getting
irrelevant.
He's getting all his money.
Oh, well, then my opinion's irrelevant. Then he's just standing on the sideline for no reason.
No. He's not being fired for cause, so they have to buy out his contract.
Oh, well, good for him at that point.
Yep.
Get your money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
being a college,
and all
being a major college, it's the greatest job in the world because it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Like they still got to pay you as long as you don't commit crimes.
Yeah.
Like Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly was like what at one point?
No, he got away with that.
He
He killed a student and still kept his job. Amazing how that works. So
yeah, No, I'm thinking of Charlie Weiss with Kansas, Notre Dame, and who else? He was getting like 3 paychecks at the time. It's like that's how you do it. That's how you win at life. Who cares?
I mean, Jimbo Fisher keeps failing upwards. So
no, I would say taking the Texas A&M job was a failing downwards. No matter what his paycheck says.
No, the paycheck says otherwise. No, you can look at the school all you want, but he failed upwards.
Like that's fair. That's fair. I think we do have a wrap up though at this point. There's not really a whole lot else to talk about at this point because it's Kansas next week. There's not really a whole lot. We had kind of a drama, less filled game. Gavin, do you have any final thoughts? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I'm going to make my Caleb Williams for Heisman sign on TNT. I'll be on television with my Caleb Williams for Heisman.
Tell me where you're going to be at so I can just record. Be like, that's Sean.
There's a chance I'll be behind the hard camera, so there's a chance I may not be on TV as much, but you never know. We'll see.
Well, that's disappointing now. Now I'm disappointed.
No, I don't think that's true. Now that I think about it, that's probably not true. But anyway, I'll do my best to find out. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
I think you'll have fun.
I can see Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black 3. I hope Malachi Black beats the crap out of him again.
All right.
The stars aligned for sure for you for like making sure this was an 11 a.m. game. It's like OU listened to you or something.
I mean, worst case, it's like 5 miles down the road from the arena. So just
yeah, there you go.
Okay. This is now going to be my final random question, and I'm going to want to leave it to you guys. And this is the last one. Do you consider The Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween or a Christmas movie?
All right. Good night, everybody.
Sean's out on that one. So I would consider it to be a Halloween movie. So with that, buddy, I'm going to let you go. This was a good live stream with it. We'll probably join next week for Kansas. It's not going to be a whole lot to talk about with this one because it's Kansas. We'll be more of looking forward to Texas Tech and seeing what we got to do to game plan against them. It's a scrimmage game. It's a glorified scrimmage game. I want to thank Biggie, and I'm going to scroll back up really fast. Biggie, I think I saw John, and I saw somebody else. I saw a third person with it who joined us tonight. I want to thank y'all for joining. We're here every week at 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time or Central Standard Time to talk about OU football and just kind of whatever else is what on our mind. So again, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Again, continue to wear a mask, guys. Rates are going down. For every time we wear a mask, you're able to protect people around you as well as stop the spread of COVID-19. And it gets closer to returning to normal everyday life at this point. So, Gavin, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. We had a good discussion tonight with Sean. Sean, he already exited out. Thanks for joining us as well, buddy. Everyone be sure to check out Sean's channel. He's only a couple subscribers off, I think a little over 60 at this point, some change from reaching 10,000. So go subscribe to him. Sean has a lot of great content. Everyone, I hope everyone had a good weekend. We look forward to this scrimmage against Kansas. Gavin, I hope you have a good, wonderful rest of your week. And for everybody else, same thing. Next week as well, because it is such an off week, I may open up the room for people to come in and join us with Gavin, Sean, and I, just to talk OU football or just any topic kind of in general. You just have to have a mic and a headset. So, Gavin, again, thank you, buddy, for joining me. I hope you have a good week. And for everybody else, thanks for joining. Boomer Sooner, there's only one Oklahoma.
All right.
Bye, buddy.
So.